Hey guys, it's JaaackJack and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am sharing what I ate today, but with a little twist because I spent a few days at my parents' house. So when I'm filming this, I was at my parents' house. So we are just going to look inside their fridge and their pantry and see what they have. My parents' home, like I've always thought this about my parents' kitchen. They are home of the ramen noodles and home of all the snacks. Like they are always stocked on ramen noodles and snacks all the time. So we're just gonna see what we can find and put something together. So starting with breakfast, I am so obsessed with how this turned out. It was absolutely delicious. This is hash brown and veggie mix. Like that's what it is. So I found this box of hash browns at my parents' house. So I've never done boxed hash browns before, but we're gonna use that. I found a bell pepper and then also a carrot. So getting in my veg in the morning. We gotta have onion, of course, and then I found green onion and kale actually in my mom's garden. So one of the coolest things about my mom's kitchen is that she has a ginormous garden in the backyard. So she has some on the side of the house, in the back, and then on the other side. So there's so much fresh produce, organic produce growing in their house. So I definitely wanted to take advantage and use some of that, so I grabbed some green onions and some kale leaves. At least I'm pretty sure these are kale leaves. She doesn't have anything labeled back there. I think this is kale. We grabbed that and then also a little bit of cheddar cheese. So I'm just following the directions to making these boxed hash browns. Again, I've never done this before. Very interesting, but you take some hash browns, you do equal parts hash brown and boiling water, and then you let that sit, cover the hash browns completely in the water, and you basically let that sit for 30 minutes or so. It kind of rehydrates the hash browns and brings them back to life. And so while I wait for that, I'm just going to chop up my veggies. So I'm chopping up the green bell peppers, the carrots, the onion, and the kale and green onions. One thing I really want to try and do more is incorporate more veggies into my diet. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but I have been slacking on the veggies for quite a while. So I really want to get better at making veggies a bigger part of my diet. So once the hash browns are ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of oil on a frying pan or skillet and throw in some of the veggies and then add in the hash browns. I'm going to use the kale and green onions. I'm going to add those last. I'm going to let everything kind of cook and saute together first, because once the green onions and kale go in, they kind of wilt pretty quickly. So those you can add in last. And then to top it off, I'm just going to sprinkle some cheese. And there we go. We've got our veggie hash brown mix, and I topped it with some salsa, and it was delicious. It was so good. Next for lunch, I decided to have some udon. My dad has been buying so much ramen and udon noodles, and I love udon noodles so much. And this one is a super easy microwave one that you can do. And I decided to also eat some leftovers. This is tofu and green beans. I wanted to add a little bit of veg to my lunch. So there's really not much of any veggie in the udon other than the green onions. So that's why I wanted to have the tofu and green bean leftover with this meal, and it was so good and so filling. And that's what I prefer to eat bigger meals. I know this is not a common thing people do, but I prefer to eat bigger breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that I'm not snacking throughout the day, because snacks are my enemy. When I snack, I will eat a whole entire bag of chips in one sitting. I just mindlessly eat snacks. So that's why I try to be more mindful of my meals so I'm not constantly snacking throughout the day. So apparently at my parents' house, they've started this new tradition of doing Taco Tuesdays. So they'll do some type of taco every Tuesday. And so this particular day, my mom decided to do some rolled tacos, and she made some tofu rolled tacos for me, which are so stinking good. You just take tofu, chop it up, or you can kind of separate it to make it look like ground beef and season it with just regular taco seasoning, and it tastes so good. And then she made shredded chicken for the rest of my family. And then she had this mango salsa, which was so good, this mango pico de gallo with avocado type of mix. It was amazing. Just put your tofu in there, roll it up, fry it, and then top it with cheese, your lettuce, your pico de gallo, your salsa, whatever you want, and that is it for rolled tacos, tofu rolled tacos. It was so stinking good. I had it with salsa on the side and a little dollop of sour cream, and I was so good to go. I didn't eat any of the rice that they had because I was so full with just these 4 rolled tacos. My sisters are huge into baking desserts, so I wanted to bake some homemade cinnamon rolls for them. So this one requires no yeast. I just found a recipe online. You're gonna need flour, powdered sugar, regular sugar, milk, brown sugar, a little bit of salt, cream cheese, butter, baking powder, vanilla extract, and cinnamon. So to start with the dough, you need 2 cups of flour, and then we're also going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 5 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter, and then 3/4 cups of milk. So we're first going to mix in the dry ingredients, and then we'll add in the cold butter and then the milk and use a hand mixer to blend it all together. And once it starts to create like this giant ball, you want to go ahead and flour your countertop a bit and then start kneading it until it creates this perfect like smooth ball. And then you can go ahead and take your roller to flatten it out and create the cinnamon rolls that we're going to roll up. Now to create the filling, we need 2/3 cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of white sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and then half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then just mix that all together. And this is what's going to go right on top of our dough, and we're going to smooth that out all over. And then we can begin to gently roll this into one giant roll. And then once we have that, we can cut it into little 1-inch sections to create our individual cinnamon rolls. Now we can place them in the pan and make sure your pan is nice and buttered up, and you want to give some space because they are going to expand. And the direction I was following said to bake them for 28 to 30 minutes at 375 degrees. But if you saw in the beginning of this, like the dessert recipe, these turned out very crunchy. So I would maybe go 350 or maybe not cook them for as long. But anyways, while they're cooking, we're going to work on the icing. So it calls for 3 ounces of cream cheese, but my parents only had strawberry cream cheese. So we're just gonna go with the flow. So this is kind of a strawberry cinnamon roll recipe. So 3 ounces of cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of softened butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and then 1 tablespoon of milk. So we're gonna mix that all together with our hand mixer. And that is what is going to go on top. That is our icing. And I thought it was actually very sweet. So I know you see me throwing on so much right now, but I would actually do less, because once I actually was eating them, I decided to wipe off all the frosting because I just thought it was a little too sweet.
Does it taste like a cinnamon roll?
I'll leave the exact recipe that I followed in the description box for you guys if you want to try it out for yourself. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this what I ate today video and got some ideas for some meals. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.